Yo, what is up? We are back with episode 9 of Frontlines, and we are in Kraftwerk attacking. And now I'm gonna cover the 10 tips that I made in the 10 tips of Frontlines that I made in my previous Frontline videos. So I'm gonna make a link to it. But first, remember to subscribe if you are here for the first time, and make sure you turn on the notifications, especially if you are here for the mod pack videos. That's going to be very useful for you. And give this video a like if you're going to like the tips that I'm going to give you, and you're going to benefit from it. Now, this is Bravo objective. Bravo is one of the most difficult. It's the second most difficult objective. Of course, the most difficult one is Alpha, and they made some changes to this, and they made it easier to defend it for the defenders. Now, as you can see, I took some shots from the right side there, which I didn't think you could before, but apparently you do now. But anyway, that's too bad. And I don't know how I took a shot from that guy, and this is not a good start for me. I figure I can side scrape and heal myself up in my LPC, yeah, the new tank anyway, TL1, but I have miscalculated and I have died, and just like that I've lost my first tank. So I'm gonna be I need to be really careful in my second tank, because it's gonna take some time for the spawn to to count down, and in the cooldown time for a new tank to come. But anyway, I decided to spawn into Charlie, which I made in my videos before. Charlie is the easiest spawn to capture, so I'm going to prove that to you right now. First, of course, you need to get rid of those guys on the flank, on the eastern flank, that are sniping the cap circle, and you need to kill those guys that are sitting in the cap circle. So you need to do that first before anything else. So anyway, I'm going to go recap a little bit on my last videos of Frontlines, the 10 tips that I would suggest in this map. First of all, you are in Kraftwerk. In Kraftwerk attacking, be prepared to lose, especially in the first couple of days of this game mode, because there are a couple of changes in Alpha, Bravo and Charlie. People are getting used to this game mode again, I guess. Especially Kraftwerk being a new map and the recent changes. The attacking teams are going to be very pensive. They're not going to be very aggressive playing this game mode. So more often than not, the attacking teams are going to lose. The defensive teams are going to win a lot, especially on the first 3 days of Kraftwerk. Now, maybe on the old map, the Overlord map, the attacking teams, they figured out what to do. So in Overlord, you're going to be expecting to win if you are attacking, because everybody's used to that map. They know all the places, all the nuances. They know how to play that map very well. So you're going to be expecting a lot of wins in Overlord if you are attacking. But in Kraftwerk, at least for the first 2 or 3 days, you expect to lose if you are attacking. So I'm well prepared to lose in this game mode right now. And you can actually cap right here, sitting in with your tank parked halfway in the circle, but I can't cap right now because there's one tank right in the cap circle still alive. So I've got to get rid of him first before anything. So there's no point in me staying in here. I'm gonna get sniped from the front and the back. So the first thing you need to do is get rid of those guys on the flank. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go repair myself and go take care of those guys that are in the flank. So my first tip for this video, as in my last 10 tips video, the first tip I need to give you is play aggressively. Play very aggressively if you want to make general. If you want to make general, you've got to put yourself out there. You've got to be able to do the damage. You've got to be able to play aggressively, of course, while juggling your respawn tanks. Now, as you can see, I have no tanks in my respawn. It's still in cooldown. If I died now, I wouldn't have any. Oh my god, this guy, can't you just watch where you're going? Anyway, I need to stay alive while being aggressive right now, because I already lost my first tank. I need to make sure that my cooldown respawn another tank in reserve before I can actually take bigger risks in this particular tank. So my first tip is play aggressively. No matter what situation you are in, you've got to measure your level of aggressiveness. Now, in order for us to cap Charlie, you need to kill this guy that's sitting here first. So this guy's got to go, and he's gone, he's dead. Now I need to back out. Oh no, but I backed out into this wall. This is a bad situation for me. I can't die now. I need to back out, but I keep bumping into that wall. But I managed to escape, I think. Yes, I do manage to escape. And you can see my tank has got no camo on it, and that's because this is actually the first game in the Frontlines for me, and apparently the mods have broken, so my return camo mod wasn't working properly, so I'm spawning into the games without any camo on my tanks, which is a real disadvantage. You do need camo because the camo adds cloak concealment to your tank, so it's really important for you to have camo, but that's too bad I don't have it right now. So anyway, my first tip was play aggressively. My second tip for you in this game mode, of course, I mentioned it just now, manage your reserve tanks properly. Now you can see on my bottom left, one of my reserve tanks have popped up. While I repair this tank to full HP, I've gotten rid of the guy on my flank, and my team still hasn't attempted to cap. So now I've got full HP and the reserve tank. Now is a good time for me to attempt to cap. Now I took unnecessary damage there, and I am not making my shots because once again, I am not shooting premium shells. I tried to avoid shooting premium shells in this game mode because if I need to explain myself again, I am fully caught up. I've already got my reward tank. I've got my AE phase 1 already. I don't need it to play this game mode. I'm playing this game mode for fun, to earn credits as well. So I don't really need to be spamming gold and hurting my credit potential. So I'm shooting mostly standard shells for the most part, unless I am fighting frontally with heavily armored tanks. Sometimes you will see me shoot premium shells when I have to, but if I don't have to, I try to be conservative and try to just shoot AP shells. Now this is a good position for me. I am a little bit hull down here. It's very difficult for guys to try and reset me here. Now ideally I'd like to be full HP when I get into the cap circle here, so that I can take a little bit of damage and still manage to survive, but this is really risky for me. But I decided to take the risk because number one, the repair station was still on cooldown. I had no choice. I don't have the opportunity to top up my HP, and I also have a reserve tank in reserve in my spawn. So what I can do is take a little bit of risk here, a calculated risk, and see if I can survive longer. Now this VK made a big mistake here. He should have tried to finish me off instead of try to shoot the other guy, I guess. But he did manage to finish off one guy, but good for me, because with that guy dead, that means that's a lot more capture points for me, I guess. I'm fairly safe in this position because I've got three dead tanks here in front of me that I can use as hull down. As long as they don't explode and disappear, they're going to be providing a little bit of cover for me, so that's what I'm going to do. Now my third tip for you guys is use medium tanks for this game mode. Medium tanks and light tanks, basically tanks that have a little bit of mobility, because you're gonna need mobility if you want to earn a lot of damage. You want to flank, you need mobility in this game mode. It's very important in this game mode. That's not to say that heavy tanks, tank destroyers, artillery do not have a place in this game, but I guarantee you 100%, I've done my research, I've looked at other guys, I've looked at professional streamers, I've looked at professional players. They all play high mobility tanks, either the T-44 100s, Progettos, Lorraines, anything that's fast, LT-432s, any kind of light tank that is quick, wheeled tanks. These are the tanks that are are going to be earning the most frontline points. They are the guys that are almost ranking up the most. Now that's, again, like I'm saying, that's not to say heavy tanks, tank destroyers are not making it, they're not ranking. I'm not saying that they're not ranking. There are situations when heavy tanks are going to be very useful in this game mode, but the majority of the guys that are having the majority of the success in this game mode, ranking up, earning a lot of credits, are the guys that are playing a lot of those high mobility tanks, high DPM tanks. Like I said, T-44 100s, Progettos, maybe even the TL1 LPC, the new tank, the Lorraines, the FV4 202s, even any kind of tank that gives you a bit of mobility, a bit of hull down, a bit of DPM. You need those kind of tanks to get you around, because you need mobility to move around the map. This is a huge map. You need to flank around, move around, relocate, find new positions, and mobility is a premium in this game mode. So like I said, again, not to slag off the heavy tanks and the tank destroyers, but mobility is key to this game. At some point you need to, even if you're playing a lot of heavy tanks, you still need some medium and light tanks to switch around and flank around the map and change positions. So that was tip number 3. Use those kind of tanks. Now tip number 4 is be ready to switch flanks. Now you notice that as soon as Bravo was not working for me, there was no point in me respawning in my T-44 100 and going into Bravo capture and to, you know, risk losing my tank and dying all over again. So I was ready to switch flank. I was looking at the map. I know that Charlie is the easiest objective to capture, so I decided to come to Charlie in my T-44 100. T-44 100 is a very competitive, good combat tank. It's got a bit of a troll armor, it's got good DPM, it reloads in about 5 seconds, so it's really good tank for combat. For combat purposes. So I took it to Charlie, where I know it is I have a better opportunity to earn capture points and rank myself up. So that is exactly what I did. I was ready to switch flanks all the time and ready to move on to the next flank. Now my tip number 5 is, if you are behind, if you are not, you know, if you haven't got your reward tanks yet, if you are still in Prestige 6 or Prestige 7 or Prestige 8 or whatever, if you are behind, don't be cheap. Shoot the gold. Use gold ammunition. Make sure you have your boosters on, your frontline experience boosters on, so that you can double your booster experience. And don't be afraid to, you know, to spend your credits on the gold ammunition, because you need to realize your shots more often. Now you see me there using a lot of standard ammunition and fighting these guys hull down. They are hull down, I am hull down. It's difficult for me to get any kind of penetrating shots on them if I'm not shooting premium shells. But again, I'm trying to explain to you that I am resolved to play this game in standard ammunition most of the time. 95% of the time I'm shooting standard ammunition, because I don't really need to rank up. I don't really need to, I'm not in a hurry to earn any kind of frontline points. I'm just playing this for credits and playing this for fun, playing this for the challenge. But if you are behind, if you need to rank up quickly, don't be cheap. Shoot premium shells. You won't lose much credits if you're playing this game mode anyway. So you know what, if you break even, that's going to be good for you. You're going to rank up. Instead of captain, you could be major. Instead of major, you could be general, which is really important for you if you are trying to catch up. So don't be afraid to spam the premium shells. It's going to be good for you. You're going to rank up quickly, and it's going to save you a lot of time. You're going to get your reward tanks a lot quicker. Now here I am in the TL1 LPC. I wanted to flank. I wanted to to get into the Alpha objective, but I noticed that Alpha objective is still under siege, so I thought I'd come over here and see if I can still advance on the Charlie flank and try to get into the Foxtrot cap. And here I am trying to maximize my my potential here in the TL1. This is the new pretty fly for a white guy, I guess. This is the Offspring tank. Without the Offspring skin, I'm using the WoW camo, I guess, the Doge camo. But this tank is a great tank. If you can get this tank on sale or something, this is a great tank to have. And this tank is even better on random battles. If you play random battles, this tank is a lot better in random battles. That's because of the 280 penetration and 280 alpha gun that it has. This tank is super good if you're firing premium shells. It will penetrate almost anything or almost all tier 9 tanks, so it's really good for that purpose. But right now I'm ammo wrecked and this doesn't look good for me. But one thing, I'm being very aggressive right now because I have another 2 tanks in reserve. If you notice, like I said, you need to make sure you are paying attention to your reserve tanks. And although I'm going to die now, that's okay because I've already spawned my second reserve tank, so I've always got 1 reserve tank in my spawn before I decide to go forward. Now again, I am looking at the map here, trying to figure out where is the best place to go, and the best place to go is Alpha right now because my team has just captured Alpha. And the best thing to do now is, because Alpha is so much weakened right now, most of the tanks are dead, the best thing to do is get into a wheeled tank and see if I can earn frontline points, capture points on the Delta objective. So what I want to do is just try to clean up here as quick as possible, and once that is done, I'm going to try and get into the Delta objective and see if I can get some capture points now, easily finish off this guy. And just like that, I am major already now. I haven't done much, right? But I'm already major. And why was that? It was because I was being aggressive, doing as much damage and spotting as I can. I was managing my respawns well. I put my tanks at risk when I have reserve tanks in my respawn. I have reserve tanks. That is why I am taking more risks. And here you go, I'm already major now. I noticed that I have enough time to finish off this guy, so I'm just going to reload and finish off this guy before I get into the Delta objective and try and cap out in the Delta objective. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I know that the enemy team is severely diminished at this location, so I'm just trying to be a bit safe here, try not to get into the cap too early. Now I've got some mates and some teammates approaching the capture circle now, so now is a good time for me to get into the capture circle, park myself right here where it is the safest, and also I have full HP, so just in case I get airstrike or anything like that, I'm still probably going to survive, so that's a good thing for me. So I'm going to wait here and pre-aim this corner. A lot of times there's a lot of the enemy teams that pop out from this high ground here at the corner, and there you go, airstrikes one of the guys. I'm still alive. I lose about half of my HP, but that's okay. That guy, he died, but I guess good for me because I earn all the capture points because he's dead. But that's how it goes, and just like that, I am almost a general. So what I'm gonna do is see if I can do a little bit of damage and get myself into general. Now I don't want to go forward there and take on the big boys. What I want to try and do is help out this guy here who has isolated and SU-130 PM, the snow leopard. So I'm gonna see if I can go and help him out when he's not looking. I'm gonna finish him off if I can with HE, and he's dead, so that's good. Now I can I've noticed that there is an LT432 there. Now those light tanks are one of the kind of tanks that I can take on in my EBR-75 with HE. I can do a bit of damage on him if I land my HE shells, but I didn't. I only landed one, and just like that I've become general. So now that general is in the bag and time is running out, I'm going to try and see if I can get myself into general of the army. And in order to do that, I need to just try and spot as much as I can, do as much damage as I can, and I'm probably going to end up as general. Now if you notice earlier, I'm always toggling the team sheet to see where my position is, how many tanks are on my side, what kind of tanks are on my team, what kind of tanks are on the enemy team, and that is very important when you are playing in this game mode. The next tip that I have for you is, even if you are in a tank destroyer or a low mobility tank, you cannot sit idle. Now if you're in one of those heavy tanks or tank destroyers, you are limited with your mobility. Even so, even if you are limited in your mobility, you still need to push forward in order to earn XP, in order to rank yourself up. You need to do damage, you need to do a bit of spotting. So remember, even if you are in a TD or a heavy tank, you cannot sit idle. You need to keep pushing forward. Now tip number 7, map awareness is the key. You notice me always toggling the map, always looking at the map, always looking at my team sheet. Map awareness and keeping an eye on the map, knowing where your location is, knowing where is the next opportunity is the most important thing in this game mode. My tip number 8, let others focus on the final objective. You do not need to kill those turrets, because there is always those light tanks that are going to be shooting those turrets and finish this game early. You do not want this game to finish early. You want to do as much damage as you can and rank yourself up to general before this game is over. So let others do the destroying the turrets and finishing off the objective 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for you. You do not need to do that. And my last tip for you is, if you have reserve tanks in your reserve during the end game, YOLO and go in. If you die, it's okay, you have reserve tanks. Get close to your enemy, close them down and damage them as much as you can if you have reserve tanks in your reserve. And there you go, that's a general, and there you go, general of the army, first game in Kraftwerk, first game in Frontlines, episode 9. I hope you enjoyed these tips, and I hope you have success in your Frontlines episode 9 and get your AE phase 1 reward tank as well. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye bye.